well-being at work. Sorry for the brief interruption. As you know, we are all online and things can go awry in spite of our best laid plans. So I've changed my network and hopefully now we are not going to have any more bloopers. I have with me 6 fantastic ladies who are doing very well at their profession, yet at the same time have the courage to learn and improve themselves. All of us are cohorts at the IIM Calcutta Women Leadership Program. So I will introduce all of them briefly, and I request you all to give your comments in the comment section on anything that you want to hear us about. First, I'm going to start off with Dipti. Dipti is a communication specialist with over 15 years experience in her field. She's currently based in Mysore and really peppy and very, very lively. So tell me something, Dipti, how do you look after your emotional health and well-being?
For me, the entry point to emotional well-being, I would say, is to take care of myself, and I think that's very, very important for all of us to first take care of ourselves. A very wise man once told me, Pragati, that you should be your first priority. If you aren't, then how will you take care of anyone else, right? And in order for us to take care of other people, it's very important that we take care of ourselves. And I realized it very late in life. I probably realized it just about 4 or 5 years ago, after a series of incidents, which kind of culminated in my realization of this very important fact. And I think that's where I come from, that you have to take care of yourself first before you can take care of anyone else. And that is my entry point into emotional well-being. And also, thank you so much for inviting all of us to this awesome, peppy, really cool crowd of amazing women, all of us, such good friends. And I can see Tejaswini's big smile, which always makes me feel very, very happy. Always. Her smile is so contagious, isn't it? And of course, you've been awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dipti. So that brings me to Tejaswini, who's a communications specialist working with Cognizant and based in Bangalore currently. So Tejaswini, tell me one thing. How is it that you bring humor to any workplace situation? Because there's nothing like humor to diffuse tension and actually cater to emotional well-being, your own and that of others at work.
That's true, Pragati. Firstly, thank you so much for inviting me for this session.
Pleasure.
Good. And it feels amazing, quite honored to be part of this group and having met all of you as well. Amazing women, all of us in a lovely little cohort and becoming lifelong friends. Humor is in general part of my life. I'm generally in the belief that life and all of its issues or whatever it is should not be taken too seriously. Take things at its pace. Things happen for a reason, and everything has a learning to it. So, for me, any meeting that I have or any office gathering that I have, any irrespective of whether it's a presentation or a leadership meet, I don't generally allow it to go extremely serious at all. My go-to thing is Bollywood. I love Bollywood. I'm a huge Bollywood buff. I find a Bollywood dialogue for every situation that there is. So an awkward silence, and I go "Itna sannata kyun hai bhai?" And if one of my team members has given a fantastic presentation, I go "Mukambo khush hua," and this lightens up the mood. And I've done that in some rather large gatherings as well. When one of my unit heads in a previous organization gave some really serious presentation with some very tight deadlines and huge goals, and I was anchoring that event, so there was this deathly silence by the time he left the stage, and he went and sat back, and I just went and said, "Ab tera kya hoga Kalia" types. So I think humor, just keeping it a little light, it allows people to not take things too seriously as well, and opens up the mind, to allow some good ideas and some good sharing to happen.
Very well said. And I totally agree with you. I'm not as big a Bollywood buff as you, but I'm definitely going to try it next time. You know, imagine if in therapy I say, Tera kya hoga, Kalia? So that brings me to you, Aishwarya. Aishwarya has been in a business management professional for the last 15 years. She's into strategic planning, resource management, and a communication specialist. So tell me something, Aishwarya, how do you look after your emotional well-being at the workplace?
Good evening, everybody, and happy to be a part of this wonderful gathering today. And thanks for having us over, Pragati. You're being a wonderful host, and we have had the opportunity to listen to you in a lot of videos, and there are some amazing messages that you give across every day. So keep at it. And emotional well-being for me is. I think I'm a very people-centric person, and I need to connect with others for me to keep myself emotionally stable. So I think that kind of helps me. And I don't know, I'm probably somebody who's very positive always. And I think, when you came up with this topic, I think there was only one question that kind of came up to my mind. So I still remember during the last day of college, there was one friend of ours who came up and asked all of us, so what does success mean to each one of you? And I mean, it didn't take me long, but then I just, on the spur of the moment, I said happiness. That's it. To me, success, you can't measure it by your career or your, the amount of wealth that you accumulate. To me, success is being happy in whatever you do and wherever you are. So I think that kind of became the mantra for my life. So like Tejaswini said, right, there are reasons why certain things happen and there are learnings there. So you just have to let things happen and not get too serious about it. And I kind of adopt the same philosophy at workplace also. So, I don't take my work, too hard. So just to say that, I know my deadlines, I know my, I know when to cut off. So I think that is very important for you to know when to say no and when to put a stop to say that, yes, this is what I can do in a day. And I think I mentally switch off like by 6:37. I think I say, okay, that's it for the day. It's done. It's done. It's not done. It can always be done tomorrow. It's not like there's nothing that can't wait until tomorrow. I think that kind of helps to maintain that, emotional well-being. And again, I think I am quite fortunate to have a lovely team. So who always, keep me motivated, and also to an extent, we are a lively bunch of team members, so we don't always have serious meetings, so there is some fun element in our meetings as well. So things are going good. So I mean, happiness and staying positive is how I
That's
try. And
lovely to hear, Aishwarya.
Thank you.
I think that's really well put, putting that hard stop to what you are doing and switching from one role to another is something that most of us struggle with. We feel that the world won't spin on its axis without us. But like you pointed out, Aishwarya, the world does spin without us being there, and sometimes much better without us being there. So just understanding our own fallibility or our own humanity helps us preserve our sanity. So thank you for bringing that facet in.
Thank you.
So next, I would love to hear from you, Shilpi. You've been a food tech sales professional with 16 years of experience. I always see a very calm, facade, and I always see not just a facade, I would say you radiate calmness. And I'm sure all of us here would agree, we see each other week after week. So tell me something, what is it that you do to build up your emotional strength on a regular basis?
Thank you so much, Pragati. It's a great opportunity and a platform to share our experiences and, to make a difference a little bit, even if we could, to anyone's life.
Absolutely.
So, when you're talking about a calm feeling, actually once, I'll share a small incident. I was at one of the, pathology labs wherein I was patiently waiting for my turn to come, and then there were few other patients who were coming without appointments and going in for prior checkups and all, and I was calmly waiting there, patiently waiting there. And then at the end, once the receptionist had addressed each one of them, I went there and I presented my documents. So she was, ma'am, I have been looking at you and you have been sitting there for past 25 minutes without saying a word, without making hassles for me. And I really like this about you. And, why did you not come to me before and, pretend like others and, try to expedite the situation? And the only answer I had was, when I can wait, there's no need to put someone in the situation where they have to choose and select and be really worried about it. So that's kind of in my nature, wherein I prefer to think about the situation and then really act upon it. Not it's I don't kind of really react to it. I prefer responding to it. And I think that's the mantra. And a lot of times, and as my colleagues have been speaking about being sane, and I fully agree with Tejaswini that being a Bollywood buff sometimes helps, and using some of the dialogues from some of the funny movies really calms the situation out. So it's like I also use them sometimes in our meetings, like "Purush hi nahi, Mahapurush hai wala." So and it really helps to calm the situation down and bring a little humor which is required to de-stress everyone, bring that small smile in the most tensed of the situations. So most of the times when I feel stressed, I just stop everything. I pick up one of the most funniest of the movies with no sense, and I laugh my heart out with my son. So that is what gives me a break and gives me energy to move on.
That's so well put, Shilpi. I love it. You are walking your talk. And this, I think, defined empathy like nothing else. If I can wait, why do I not wait? If we actually just paused and thought about our own conduct, life becomes so much easier. So that brings me to you, Swati. Swati is a civil engineer based in Delhi, and she has extensive experience in the field of oil and gas, mining, metals, and infrastructure works. Now, that is quite unconventional for women as a field. And yet, as we see, especially in our IIM group, we have quite a few civil engineers and women who have not been afraid to walk a path which is traditionally not a woman's forte. So is there some workplace challenge that you have dealt with your emotional strength? I would love to hear about that.
Thanks, Pragati. First of all, I'd like to thank you for bringing me up into this platform. It's really wonderful. It's like always a pleasure to see all these smiling ladies around. I mean, it's as you rightly said, being a civil engineer, we often used to see less of them, but yeah, it's always nice to see fresh faces, always. So as on the emotional front, to be very honest, I haven't really seen a lot of challenges being a female. Probably I am one of the lucky few, and so I just take life as it comes. I never treat myself differently, or neither I would like to be treated differently. Being a civil engineer, like I have gone to sites, I have gone away from my family, stayed away, did whatever any other male colleague would have done to stay afloat, or because if we want equal treatment, we have to give equal to work as well. So that's my mantra. And yes, there's a lot of stressful situation most of the time it's a stressful situation. And then again, Ashilpi, Aishwarya, Deepti, and Tejaswini rightly pointed out, humor is something which really helps in this situation. And I have a lot to learn from you, Shilpi and Aishwarya. This calmness is something which is totally not at all my forte. On the contrary, I get I just get panicked most of the time. And yeah, then this cutoff thing again, that's something which I'm trying to build up to. But yeah, meditation is something which really helps me.
Perfect. That was lovely. Swati. And Varsha, coming to you, you have been a senior manager with Scope in Pune, wearing various hats, and you are also someone whom I see who's very serene, and you're always very thoughtful and introspective. So tell me one workplace challenge that you have dealt with. Yeah.
Good evening, all, and thank you, Pragati, for this wonderful, fun session. I really enjoying a lot. Actually, I would love to share one of my experience, which recently we all are facing, that is COVID situation. In March, we all suddenly were under lockdown, and 1 month we all were at home. Thinking how we are going to cope up with this situation and how we are going to deliver the workstations, laptops to each person's at home, because ours is a manufacturing unit, and technicians should go to the office or other factory to assemble the kits. Then and then only we will be able to deliver. So with a due all fulfilling the regulations of the government, we decided to open our factory in the month of May, 15th of May. And slowly, with the manpower of 30%, we joined the office. And one of my colleague, she was 6 months pregnant. So I told her not to come to office, but to some of the work, she came to office. And then another day, she told me that, ma'am, I'm COVID positive. Oh, God. It was totally a shock for us, and how to deal with the situation was a really a challenge in front of us as company, rather we as a company as a whole, and me as a lady to her. So very calmly, I talked to her. I asked her to go to the hospital first, get the medication, but she was not having any symptoms. So no hospital, rather no doctor was ready to get her admitted in the hospital. So no other option left with was to go at home and quarantine herself and isolate herself with others. But she was totally emotionally, she was totally drained, and I was continuously in touch with her, talking to her, get her out of this situation, and with the help of her parents and their in-laws, I tried to smoothen her and get out of this situation for 8 days. Continuously, continuously I was trying to keep her emotionally at the par where she is to be. So after that, now she delivered a baby, and now her baby is around 8 months. So we all are enjoying with her kid, but it was really a very shock that time, how to deal with the situation, how to fulfill the regulations of the government, because that was also that time a very great challenge for company. So it was a tough time for all of us. Then one by one, another patients were found in our company, but we cope up with that situation.
True.
Yeah. But that was a situation wherein emotionally stable and keeping calmness and handling the situation very calmly, keeping the things right at that position was very important. And we as a senior persons, we tried to and keep our manufacturing continue, giving the turnover of the company alive, and everything was done by all of us. So we get out of that situation, and now we are
perfect.
how to deal with that situation.
So I think that was really very, very well put, Varsha. Coming back to you, Dipti, you are very prolific with your words, whether it's writing, whether it's speaking. So tell me one mental health challenge that you have overcome with your own emotional strength. I would love to know.
Well, there's several. So in 2016, in January, I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression. I mean, it was a slew of different things that had happened before that, which caused it. But what they realized was that everybody's emotional well-being depends on how well you take care of yourself, right? And I hadn't been doing that for almost 8 years before I was diagnosed. Now here it was, it's in the open on the table. Everybody knows. My family was distraught. They were like, okay, now what are we going to do? Because she's going to be on tablets and she has to work, and you have to earn your bread, obviously, and there's so many things that are now in your kitty to kind of sort through and figure out. Now I had 2 ways to kind of deal with it. I could start taking the medicines and be depressed, or I could get up and say, you know what, I've got this problem. I know that I have a problem, and I'm going to deal with it head on. Right. So in 2016, I began a lot of reading, so much that, I began understanding some few things that I kind of tell in a lot of my speeches as well. One is that, people very easily say you hit rock bottom and now the only way is up. What people don't tell us is that, yeah, you hit rock bottom, the only way is up, all that is great. But to get up, you have to claw, you have to gnaw, you have to scrape your knee, fall back down again. It hurts, right? But then you keep getting back up again. Every time you get back, you kind of feel a new kind of strength in your leg. Your shin doesn't hurt as bad anymore. Your knee doesn't hurt anymore at all. Your heartache kind of decides to manage itself. Slowly, you kind of understand that this rock bottom is really rock solid, right? So whatever you build on that rock solid, stone that you've fallen down on the rock, it is going to stay forever. That's the foundation for you. And looking at rock bottom as a foundation for me became a very important thing. And I tell this to a lot of people who come and say, I think I've hit rock bottom. I say, that's a good thing, right? Now you can start climbing up slowly, but surely. And then you build whatever you want to build on it. And that foundation is going to be so solid that you won't fall back again. And even if you did fall, you know where you're going to fall. You've already seen that. You've already been there. You already know that ecosystem. So you know how to cope back again. And so that's something that I started doing, and I started practicing happiness by telling myself that I am a happy person. I would wake up every day in the morning and, ask my mother, how do I look? Do I look happy? Do I look sad? And she'd be like, okay, something's wrong with you. But I'd say, I'm asking you consciously, tell me, do I look happy? Do I look sad? I would do this with my brothers. I would do it with very close friends. And then, I would slowly start telling myself that it's okay to kind of grieve over something that has happened. It's okay to kind of go through that emotional turmoil, because if you don't let it happen, it's going to eat you up inside, right? I might as well just go through the phase. I might as well just feel it, drain it out. Instead of keeping it inside, make it toxic. Absolutely. So that's what I did. For the last, I think the last time I ever took a tablet for depression or anxiety was December 2016. And now I've learned to manage.
Great. So, I think that was just fabulous. And we are all so inspired to hear that, Dipti, because, Rumi said that it's through the wound that light can enter you. And you really have exemplified that. Aishwarya, I would love to hear from you. What is it that you want to add on to the discussion?
So I just, when Deepti was talking, I just got reminded of, a book I read, and, it was more like an audio book that I heard. So where it says that, you have to, so you have an uninvited guest, you are hosting a party and you have some uninvited guests. Now, how do you deal with that? You can either choose to be obsessed over that person and go to that person and try to throw him out or try to throw her out, and then, see how it's disrupting the others in the party and how it's affecting your mental peace and how it's not allowing you to enjoy the party. Or the other way is to let that person be there and ignore him. And then, slowly he gets accustomed to the situation and he blends in. And then, you are not too worried about it. And you are also able to enjoy the party, and it is not disrupting the others also. So I think, it kind of echoes what Deepti said. So accept that, that there is something wrong, and then it helps, it makes it that much easier for you to kind of, take the correct way or to correct it. So I think, whatever Deepti said kind of resonates with what I read about and heard about.
Yes, and that was so, so beautiful. So coming to you, Swati, is there any one message that you have for our viewers today? Any message on emotional well-being that you want to leave everybody with?
Yes, there's just one thing, especially for my lady friends out there, just that do take care of yourself and don't feel guilty about it. I have often seen that people are so engrossed taking care of the others, they just forget. And if they do take out time for themselves, they're always conscious of the fact that I'm ignoring something very important in my life. So just one message: make yourself priority too.
That was
Work,
wonderful.
family, everything else is definitely important, but you are the most important person in your life.
True, true, true. It's like we say, if I'm there, then mine is there. So Tejaswini, what about you? What kind of message do you want to leave for our friends?
There's something that I learned very early on in life through a workshop and through my mentor. And, he always says that nobody cares for your life more than you do.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that I learned. So you might think that a lot of people, I mean, of course, we have a lot of loved ones. We have a lot of good friends, Some of us have been extremely fortunate to have a fantastically supportive family, parents, siblings, and all that. But at the end of the day, only you know what you're going through. At any given point of time, if you're depressed, then you're depressed. If you're happy, then you're happy, and it eventually comes down to you as to how you deal with that situation. Nobody can really. A lot of people can say a lot of nice things. There have been situations when I've been like down in the dumps and I've just wanted to be left alone. No advice has worked. No pizza has worked. No chocolate milkshakes have worked. No, chat with the family and meetings have worked. I've just wanted to let things be and calm myself down. Be in that right frame of mind wherein I can see how best I am equipped to deal with that particular situation. And that is something that I did realize again. I'd kind of forgotten this. I'd realized it again in 2019 when I was in Mumbai and things were just not working out at the workplace. So I was like completely by myself. But the fact that I was by myself worked.
Mm-hmm.
Because I took my time. I I went about it my way. So that is something that I want people to, keep in mind that nobody loves you more than you. It is left up to you as to how you take care of yourself. And, everybody goes to the doctor once they realize their symptoms or once they figure out they have a fever. But, how do you avoid going to the doctor? That's absolutely left to you. How do you ensure that you avoid those visits and, you stay healthy on a daily basis? And when you're sleeping, you should be completely off the negativity. When you're waking up, you should have a reason to wake up. These are what keep you going, and that only you can do. No one else can do for you.
Thank you so much. That was lovely. As our scriptures also say, to know yourself is to know God. So Shilpi, is there any message that you have for everybody watching us today?
Yeah, so adding on a little bit to what Tejaswini, Swati, Deepti has said, most important is to take care of yourself, stay healthy, eat well. And, I had attended a kind of a webinar a few months ago, from which I had a very nice takeaway, which says, find your ecosystem. It's find your support ecosystem. So a lot of us, we think our friends, families, extended families are our ecosystem, support ecosystem, wherein we have any issues, we always look up to them to take us out of it. But during these COVID times, we are not really able to meet our families, friends, anyone. So a lot of us have actually realized that our neighbors also find, they form a good ecosystem for us.
Yes.
And this COVID has given us an opportunity to really know our neighbors, to, help them in the challenging times, and to understand how strong a relationship of that level can be. So just find your ecosystem, support ecosystem, and take it on. Yeah. Thanks.
That is so well put. Even our scriptures again, they do say the Bible, love thy neighbor as you love thyself. And I too have one of my closest friends. My neighbor is one of my closest friends, So totally, you're blessed if you have good neighbors. Varsha, what message do you want to give us all today?
Actually, I would love to tell all of us that be very positive, attach some spirituality to your life, and take the full charge of your life. Do not blame others, because you are the driver of your car. So drive your car happily, steadily, and enjoy the life.
Very well put. So Varsha is bringing us that message, no backseat driving. So Aishwarya, any last few words for everybody here?
I think, all of them have more or less covered what needs to be said. But just a thought is that, don't stress over yourself over what has happened. I mean, it cannot change things. So I think you just need to accept it and move on. No point, tripping over spilt milk is what I think. So, just let's wipe off the table. The milk is gone, and then let's just grab a cup of coffee and enjoy it. I think that's the way I look at things.
Perfect. And that brings me to you, Dipti. Any parting words for everybody today?
Life's so short, I don't know if how many of us we've spoken on the phone, but every time somebody calls me, they feel this high energy. I always start my call with "What's up?" Like a really loud "What's up?" And because life is so short and beautiful, right? My grandmother always said that what makes you happy is what's gonna keep you alive. So be happy. It's okay if something goes wrong in your day. It's okay if something went wrong yesterday. Today's like Uguay said in Kung Fu Panda, today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. So live in this moment, see all these happy faces, and kind of just enjoy the ride. It's so nice to be a part of this beautiful life that we've been gifted. Enjoy it as much as you can.
Absolutely.
Coming back to Bollywood, Pragati, like I love to, in this movie, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, they go, Rahul, take a chill pill.
Chill pill.
So
pretty much what we need to do.
How hard can it be?
I totally agree. So thank you everybody for being part of the panel today. It's really been fun. And all you viewers there, there's just one thing that I want to leave you all with when we talk about emotional well-being. Have an issue, give ear to it. Listen to it, give your emotional ability resources, and frankly, you will discover, as these wonderful ladies here, that you are equipped to deal with challenges. All you need to do is pay attention to it. And then you will know whether you can solve it yourself, seek outside help, or just let it go. So thank you, participants, and thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Pragati. Bye,
Screenshot
guys.
time.
Thanks.
Yes.
Screenshot time.